Well, I want to thank the organizers very much for the opportunity to present our experience of developing the Vision Research and Assessment Institute, which has proven to be a game changer for us working in rare retinal diseases such as retinitis pigmentosa. The previous panel was outstanding in setting the scene for this when they mentioned it's all about visual function tests, and it is, and it's about the rigorous and repeatable measurement of visual function testing, and for us, particularly in those patients with particularly low or ultra-low vision caused by retinitis pigmentosa and other allied conditions. The idea behind the VRAI started very small in an internal company clinical meeting. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at VRAI Therapeutics, when our CEO suggested that we might contemplate setting up such a facility to help us analyze the visual function in patients with very low vision. And so this is the first time I get to talk about it in detail in a public forum. It has a rather grand name and, of course, translates from the French meaning the truth, and we hope we get closer to the truth with our patients. So why did we really think about developing a physical entity, an efficacy testing facility, and staffing it for testing patients? And it's become a real game changer. It was the realization that, we have outstanding clinical sites for testing of ophthalmology patients in the United States. They provide outstanding clinical evaluation and clinical acumen. They're outstanding when it comes to safety evaluations, and they're outstanding when it comes to on-chart patients with moderate visual impairment and image-based efficacy testing. But these sites are often very high volume and lack a specialized focus and standardized evaluation methods for the testing specifically of functional visual measures in patients with low vision. So we took the bold step of leasing some space, staffing it and equipping it, and essentially establishing a state-of-the-art facility dedicated to the testing of these patients. And then around it, we've built all of the quality systems and the reading center capabilities to analyze those visual function measures. And it also provides us the opportunity to adapt, refine, and sophisticate those endpoints for testing of these patients. It is difficult if you're using multiple clinical sites in an early phase clinical trial to adapt those endpoints, sort of build the plane while flying. But we have a single center where we're able to do that in a very adaptable and sophisticated sense. So here is Sunset, I guess, at the VRAI, which is based in Irvine, just about 20 minutes drive from here. It's a one-stop comprehensive visual function testing facility and standardized and a very familiar environment for patients. We have employed specifically low vision specialists. We have independent graders with the reading center capabilities I said. We're able to work with validated endpoints, and we're able to incorporate some pioneering work, I think, in the virtual reality space. And this has all been done with very much the guidance, the input of the FDA, and is completely compliant with FDA guidelines, providing the highest quality testing. To that end, we built data management and confidentiality systems around, which ensure Part 11 compliance, and when we're doing multiple different studies for perhaps different sponsors, all of the data can be kept completely firewalled. So ultimately, patients have responded amazingly well to this facility. We have special arrangements to allow them to fly in and stay locally if they need to be here for a long period of time. Santa Ana Airport, John Wayne International Airport, is a fantastic airport for those patients with low vision. It's very easy to navigate. We're about 5 minutes from there. Patients from the East Coast have really enjoyed coming to Southern California. And it's allowed us to conduct the testing, take the time needed to really eliminate the problem in this low vision population, which is inherent variability in retest of these endpoints. We've also created a very familiar, comfortable environment where they perform very, very well. They can bring, if they have a guide dog, they can bring there. We have a dog feeding station. We have a comfortable waiting room. They can bring a companion with them. So we can really set them up for absolute success. And to that end, we've been able to work on a number of endpoints which are potentially validatable and incorporatable into pivotal clinical trials. So we've already oriented, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this, on acuity measures, mobility measures, and some work we've been doing in the virtual reality space. We have an ongoing interventional clinical trial, which is an early phase study, phase 1/2, of a small number of patients conducted at 4 clinical sites around the United States. All of the enrollment, treatment, and safety testing is done at those sites. That's our algorithm. And then for the key efficacy assessments, they come to the VRAI. This happens in this study to be every 3 months. And we can take the time to really evaluate carefully their clinical endpoints. And it's proven to be a huge game changer. I believe the investigators are fully behind this. I think they welcome that. The patients have really enjoyed it, and the FDA seems very happy with the data we're generating. So we have for example, we have a mobility testing room. We've developed our own wayfinding mobility test. There are some excellent MLMT tests available, but for patients with very low vision, they often struggle to perform those tests, even at the most brightest lighting. So we've been able to simplify that, and having our own facility has allowed us to adapt it. We have an ongoing natural history study where we've brought in more than 40 patients over the last year for retesting and to help with the development of these tests. So we have a really nice database of normative data. We have an excellent collaboration with Adaptive Sensory Technology based down in San Diego to develop visual acuity testing that's robust and rigorous, very much down to sort of levels of 28,000 in patients who have off-chart vision. So we can do, of course, we can do ETDRS testing, we can do BRVT, we can do Freiberg testing, but we also have developed this grating acuity test, which proves to be a very robust measure of acuity for those who have off-chart visual acuity impairment. It also allows us to do low luminance testing, which is very pertinent to these patients. Using a similar type of algorithm, we've extended our grating acuity testing into a contrast sensitivity type test, which now for the first time, beyond what the Adaptive Sensory Technology QCSF can do down to about 2200 or 2400, we can now test contrast sensitivity in those patients with very, very substantial visual impairment. We've also built out the facility with all of the other types of major tests that are needed for these types of patients. So kinetic and static perimetry, manual kinetic, microperimetry, and so on, and full field sensitivity testing. And we also can offer SDOCT testing for those that need multimodal assessment. So it's a fully functional, efficient, sophisticated testing facility that has proven to be a real game changer in a real-world interventional study, and we hope to garner interest. A lot of interest has become incoming in potentially using this facility for other studies. Another area, and final area, that we're very interested in is being able to work using commercially available virtual reality devices for testing. So we've been able to render multi-luminance mobility testing and wayfinding fairly faithfully in the virtual reality space. We've also developed We have an excellent collaboration with a Canadian group called Silico Labs, who work on the Unity platform. So very sophisticated platform software that allows us to build out virtual reality tests. So we now have up and running light projection tests for those with severe impairment, object recognition, visual, and we also have a visual rehabilitation program ongoing. So we're very excited about the potential for virtual reality. Here's just a very brief example as I wrap up of a patient actually navigating in using the virtual reality. You can see the skeleton has all the sensors on, navigating through this simple test and how it actually operates. So in summary, we have a state-of-the-art facility, the VRAI in Southern California, which allows us to validate new and existing endpoints. It provides ease of access and so on for patients. And we've built out all of the quality systems to ensure regulatory and compliance for early and late stage clinical trials. And each one of these assessments, as you can tell, has also been built with ease of potential tech transfer, should we want to build one, say, on the East Coast or in Europe or something like that. So it's a very scalable operation as well. And with that, thank you very much for your attention.